Hello, it's Erica here from Me2 Paper Crafts, and today I have a fun card for you. This is the one I made as my prototype, and I just found this on Pinterest. It was nothing to do with Stampin' Up! Or anybody that I knew. I just kind of saw a little quick video on how to make this card. So the special feature of this card is you open it up, and then there's this little box that pops out, and then I've got some little pumpkins inside the box. It's kind of cute, huh? So I thought I'd show you how to make it today. So today we're going to use the stamp set called Gnome for the Holidays. I could not help myself. I had to get this little set because these little gnomes are so adorable. There's even a little gnome house. Isn't that cute? And I love the greetings. There's no place like Gnome for the Christmas season. You're a friend like no other. A little Christmas wish. Holly jolly everything. Isn't that cute? This little guy's got mistletoe hanging from his hat. This guy's got a little Christmas bell. And then this little girl, she's got a whole Christmas tree, or her hat's decorated as if it's a Christmas tree. And then there's lights around the tree. Isn't that just the cutest little thing? So I've done most of the coloring for you already, just because it takes time to color. And the framelits that I'm using are called the Stitched So Sweetly framelits. You get a set of these rectangular framelits that are both stitched and scalloped. And then you get these fun stitched different shapes for lots of different greetings. Okay, so what I did was I used one of the framelits and I colored the little house on there, and I used all my blends for that. And then I cut out the next size framelit in real red so I can mount those two together. I love those scalloped edges. And then I also stamped and colored this little guy with the bell, and I fussy cut him out because I want him to be standing in front of that door there, almost as if he's welcoming you. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you need a card base. And this card base is half a sheet of 8.5 by 11. And yeah, you cut that in half, and then you're going to score it 4 1/4, and then you're going to fold and burnish the edge there. Okay, now I haven't worked out my other pieces of cardstock that I need. You're going to use some designer series paper. I've picked this paper. This is paper from the holiday catalog, and this paper is called Heartwarming Hugs. And it's got, let me see what colors are in here. Mossy Meadow, Pear Pizzazz, Real Red, and Whisper White. So there's 2 greens in there, which are great. And even though this says Mossy Meadow, this green on here I think is more like Granny Apple Green. I think this green here is Mossy Meadow. So I'm not quite sure why they didn't list, or maybe this is Pear Pizzazz. Pear Pizzazz and Mossy Meadow, that's what it is. Okay, I got it now. Anyway, there's 2 sheets of each design, and they're double-sided. So lots of really just simple Christmassy colors. I think they're mostly greens on the back and then reds on the other side. Yeah, greens. That's kind of green and green. Red and stripes, little polka dots. Some nice plaid. What's this one on the back of this one? Polka dots. They're actually not polka dots. They're little, I don't know what they are. They look like little diamonds. But really nice, nice simple Christmas colors for cardstock. Okay. So I want to use this striped on the outside of this card. And so the piece that you need measures, because this is going to, see on this card I made, this was a piece of scrap DSP that I had, so it's doesn't cover the full card front or card back, but that's okay. That worked out. That was kind of a cool thing. Because the key to this is when you cut this, there's a hole in here, and you need to cover that hole on the outside, otherwise you're going to see the hole. And so you want to wrap a piece of DSP around the card so it can be the full size of the card, or it can be, you know, a smaller piece, as long as you cover up where you cut the box. And I'll show you how to do that. So this piece measured 4 by 7, but I'm going to do 5 1/4 by 8 1/4 on this one to show you about wrapping it on the whole card here. Okay, so I need to go over to my trimmer and cut that down to size, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I have cut the DSP. So as I said earlier, I cut this to 5 1/4 by 8 1/4. Okay, so it's going to wrap around the card. All right, now first thing I want to do is to score these two pieces. So this is my card base, so I need to score this at 4 1/4. Okay, and I'm using real red here. And then this is, this measured 8 1/4, so I want to do this at 4 1/8. So 4 1/8. Let's give this a score and fold that piece. Okay, so that's all the scoring that we need for this card. So let me just grab my bone folder and we'll give this a bit of a burnish here. And the same thing for the card base. Create these nice creases. Okay, so when we're finished cutting our little slots, this is going to fit on here like that. You see, and it wraps around the back. Okay, now to create the slots, what you want to do, or this is what I did, was I decided that I wanted the slots to be 1 3/4 wide. So what I did was I took a pencil and I took a ruler, and what I did was I drew a line. And remember, this is going to get covered over. So I wanted this to be 1 1/2 inches wide here. So I'm just going to put a mark in here like that so I can see where to cut to. Okay, so I've got this line. And then now, when you create this, you have to know ahead of time what you're putting inside the box. Now, I didn't do that when I did this one, and I really did luck out because, see, I've cut my box here, and then I've put these 3 pumpkins high. So if I'd have gone a little bit higher, these wouldn't have fit. So you have to sort of determine what the contents of your box is so that you know where to cut the box. I hope that's clear for you. So I'm just putting this little lady gnome inside, so she doesn't have to be, I don't need a lot of room for her. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my card this way, and I am going to, I don't really have to measure, but what I want to do is I want this to be 1 1/2 inches wide. Okay, so I'm just going to draw, to make sure this is straight. I'm just going to draw a line here, okay, and then I'm going to move over 1 1/2 inches. Okay, so this is 1 and this is half right here. Okay, so I'll move my ruler over and draw here. Okay, so you get this sort of thing. So the next thing you want to do is you're going to cut up. Now you don't cut along this one because that's going to be folded. You're just going to cut these two. So I'm just going to pull out my larger scissors here, and I'm going to cut up this line just to that horizontal line and not cut beyond it. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to cut this one. Like so. Okay, and then what you want to basically do is you're going to just bend this forward and you're going to give it a good fold. And I'm going to bend it back the other way as well and give it a good fold. Okay, and you don't have to erase any of your pencil marks. So now what happens is when you open the card, this is going to pop out. This is going to go in and this is going to pop out like that. Okay, so there's, you've created this little box inside. Isn't that sweet? Okay, now on this one I made these cute little box flaps, and I did these out of DSP. So you want to basically just measure the width of this. So hopefully I've already pre-done mine, and so mine measured 1/2 inch wide, and I actually scored it down at 1/4 inch. And then you're going to fold it over like that, and then this is going to fit on top, and I'm going to do a bit of trimming, and I just want to make sure this is going to fit in here. This might be a little bit shorter. Yes, it's definitely shorter than the last one. You see, this is shorter, so this should have gone in a little bit wider, but for these little gnomes I don't need it to be wider. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim, I'll just trim this down a little bit. I'll just trim it. It doesn't have to be as long as the other one. I took the measurement from the other card. Okay, and then I just did a little tiny bit of an angle cut on each end. Just a tiny angle like that. So now you have this piece here. And then you're going to glue that to the top of your box, like that. Okay, so I'm just going to put some Tombow in here. And I'm going to glue this inside my box. And just fold that over. Like so. I think I need a bit more light here. There, that brightens it up a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to take my other one that I did, fold that on the score line. Okay, so this was 1/2 inch wide, scored at 1/4 inch. Okay, and let's just trim this one down too. And then angle the little sides here. One like that and one like this. Whoops, like this. There you go. And then I'll put a bit of Tombow in there. And then put it on my card. So you want to leave these, you don't want to glue these because then it looks like, you know, the flaps of the box is open. Okay, so my little lady will fit in there beautifully, and she'll just hide behind there. Now, what I thought I would do for the other side is to put in a tree, and so I took this pine tree punch that is still, this is from last year. This was a carryover from last year's holiday catalog, and I punched out this tree, and I'm not sure that's going to actually fit in there. I'd have to move it over a bit because you want to make sure this folds. Okay, so yeah, I could do the tree in there. Okay, so that will work. All right, so I think at this point we're safe to put these items in here before we glue on the front panel. So I'm going to use a couple of little glue dots on the bottom of my trunk, Okay, and I'm going to slip that in. And make sure that I can fold the card. Okay, so that'll pop up. Oh, that's not going to work, is it? No, that's not going to work. I think this tree needs to be a little bit more narrow. So I think what I will do, these glue dots are pretty tight. So I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to trim this tree down. So let's see if we can do that. Where are my paper snips? Because this tree is just a little... So I'm just going to make it up as I go. It's not as nice a tree, I don't think. But I think it'll work. It's the kind of a tree I think a little gnome would have in their house. Kind of a goofy little tree. So let's just pull in another glue dot. Let's try that again. That's still not working very well. I should have planned this ahead of time with this little tree, but sometimes that happens. Let's just get rid of that. Okay. So there, that will work right there. Okay, so maybe right in the middle. So this is a bit of, you know, things you have to work out mechanically to make sure that something is going to work. So let's hope this last time is a charm. You know, this tree reminds me of something Scrooge would have. Okay, let's hope that works. Oh, there we go. Okay, that worked. Okay, so you might have to do a little bit of manipulation there to get that to work. And then let's put this little sweetheart in there. Isn't she cute? She is so cute. And I'll just stick her in like that. So those are two little pop-ups. It's kind of cute, eh? Okay, now let's take our wrapped piece here, and you're just going to center this in here, and you're going to put that in there. So all you need is, I'm going to put tape on here. So just along the edges here. And we'll do the back, front and the back. Okay. I think I'll hold this up for this. Just get that centered as best you can. Okay, and give it a good rub. So this is kind of a different card because your back is decorated as well. Okay, so I'm going to put this on the front. So I'm going to glue these. I might put this on dimensionals, and I haven't yet decided what to do for a greeting. There is this lovely greeting. Did I get it out yet? Holly jolly everything. A little Christmas wish. You are a friend like Gnome other, and there's no place like Gnome for the Christmas season. That's kind of sweet. So I have to decide how I'm going to put that on. So in our framelit set here, we've got some other framelits we could choose to use. I just want to see what will fit. Sometimes you have to fit the greeting with the framelit, right? So we have to decide how we're going to do this. Or I could just stamp directly on here. Let's see, do I have room for that? A little Christmas wish. Yes, we could do this. I haven't used this set yet, so things are still stuck inside. So let's pull out a block. Now, this is a bit risky here, and I'm going to tell you why. Because, you know, I've spent a lot of time coloring this image, and now I'm going to stamp on here and hope that it works. Normally, I do my greetings first and then do it. So this is going to be a bit of a risk right here, but it's going to be what it's going to be. So this, I haven't used the stamp yet, okay? And I do have my labels on straight, but to test it out, I'm just going to do it on my grid paper here and see if it is a fairly straight stamp. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It's pretty straight. I just have to be able to see the stitching at the bottom. Oh, and I got the bottom. Look at that. Well, that's too bad. So to fix that, watch this. I'm just going, instead of worrying about getting rid of it, I'm going to extend it. Now I have a black, here we go. I'm just going to go like that. Fixed. It's fixed. What do you think of that? All right, so the next thing I want to do now, this guy was going to go on the front. So I think I'm going to decide, let's see, maybe right smack in the middle now. And then, oh, look at that. I'll put him right there. That looks good. What do you think? Okay, so let's get some more tape here. See if I can get this pretty well centered. There we go. Actually, I think I'll put this flat because I want him to go on dimensional. So it looks like he is standing in the foreground, greeting you as you come up the drive. Okay. And then let's put some little dimensionals on this guy here. Oh, this card is turning out to be quite sweet. Oh my gosh, I love that. Isn't that cute? Okay, now, I recognize that it's a different layout, so you don't really have a full piece of Whisper White to put in there, but the measurements that I've worked out for this are You need 2 pieces of 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. 2 1/4 by 5 1/4, and I thought I cut those out, but I may have to go and do that. So I'm just going to stop the video. Okay, so sadly my video stopped working, and I think I was just finishing up the card. We had put the tree and the little lady gnome inside the card, and we had completely finished the front, and I think I was just explaining to you about these inside panels. So again, depending on how wide your little box is, you can adjust the width of this DSP. But mine initially, for this first card that I had made, because this box was a bit wider, I had measured this to be 2 1/4 by 5 1/4. This could easily have been 2 1/2 by 5 1/4. So you can adjust this to whichever width that you want. And then rather than put another piece of Whisper White here, this could have been a piece of coordinating cardstock, or DSP, sorry, just to give it a bit of color over here. And then just put your greeting here. So I think that now completes the card. So I hope you'll follow this card template and make one of your own. I think it's kind of a nice surprise for your recipient. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed my video, please give me a thumbs up. Down below in the description there will be a link to the blog post with all of the measurements and some pictures of this card. And I just wanted to thank you so much for joining me today. So I hope to see you next week with another fun fold. Thank you so much. Bye for now.